Okay, so I have just been watching the opening ceremony of the Rio de Janeiro Olympics. I'm not going to make this a very long video, but I just want to talk a bit about that. Um, I really enjoyed it, and I have to say that this is something I always look forward to, although it only comes every 4 years. Well, actually, 2 years if we include the Winter Olympics, which of course is an Olympic event as well. I always look forward to the national presentation, the opening ceremony of an Olympic Games. I always find it to be very interesting and creative, and Rio de Janeiro was no exception. This, of course, is a historically significant Games, being the first in South America. This very second, as I'm speaking, Thomas Bach, the head of the IOC, is making his first address. I believe it's his first Olympic Games, um, at least his first Summer Olympic Games. Um, Before that was Carlos Nuzman, who is the chair of the Brazilian Olympic Organizing Committee, the Rio de Janeiro Organizing Committee, I should say. Um, so there were a lot of details to tonight's event. The national procession, I'll start with that, although it wasn't the beginning of the event. It took a long time because it was in the Portuguese language, so it was all a bit mixed up. Of course, it always takes a long time. Some 11,000 athletes in total, and what we saw tonight was only a portion of that. A lot of the athletes apparently stay behind. But one aspect I really enjoyed about that was the fact that they had people coming out on bicycles, kind of colourful bicycles. It was kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It looked very childlike and very colourful, and I like that idea. In London, in Beijing, and in other Olympic Games, they just had people kind of carrying banners. This was the first year, I believe, for South Sudan. There was also a lot of focus on the refugee team. I forget what the official name is, but that's something I think everyone with goodwill would be really wishing them well. These people have been to hell and back, and for them to, I was going to say represent their countries, but really they represent 65 million displaced people around the world. There's Syrians there, there's people from other war zones and trouble zones in the world. Um, Russia, of course, made an appearance, bit of controversy about that with the whole doping scandal. My own thoughts on that is that I do have some sympathy for those individual Russian athletes who are clean and who are kind of being tarnished with the same brush. There was speculation that no Russian athlete would attend this, but obviously that hasn't transpired. And perhaps that's right because if someone is training for years and they are clean, I think collective punishment isn't wouldn't quite be fair. Although I do understand the controversy with it being at state level. Russia obviously has a lot of answering to do with that, but not to sour what is basically a very joyous event. I mean, the Olympic Games, it sounds almost like a cliche, but I really do think that the opening ceremonies, especially, um, forget the medal counts, forget the competitive nature naturally of the Olympics. Everyone wants their country to do well. Incidentally, I always actually want smaller countries to do well. I mean, of course, I'm British, I want the UK to do well, but we always do anyway. I mean, we're the third highest ranking in medal scores after the US and the former Soviet Union. Actually, this is my local paper today. That's five local Olympians. So we have Will Fletcher, Kat Driscoll, Josh Kelly, Pat McCormick, Ali Dixon. I'll be looking out for them. The thing is, the UK is always going to do well anyway. So, if we get a gold, it's kind of glory for the individual and it's good. It's another gold to our tally. But if a small poor country, or let's say a country that hasn't traditionally done particularly well, gets even a bronze, that is a big, big thing. So I always kind of root for those countries as well. I hope India and Bangladesh get more medals this time round because proportionally, and Indonesia, proportionally, they're the countries that, despite having large populations, have relatively few medals. So I hope they do well. Um, I have Chinese friends who were watching it from China. It's now around 9, 10 a.m. in the morning there. Um, they're obviously rooting for their country. China always does well. Um, the ceremony, I found it really enjoyable, creative. I mean, to be honest, I say this with every ceremony. There's a lot of kind of competition with this, like who done the best, etc. But to be honest, I think every opening ceremony has something to offer. I like the fact that they had this kind of evolutionary theme going on, from microbes to rainforest, then the whole development of like kind of first indigenous Brazilians, then the Europeans, the Africans, the Japanese. Brazil, of course, is a very diverse country. Then the development of cities, then the whole dance theme. Um, I thought they would have a bit more of a carnival intro, with that being Brazil, of course. But I thought it was very colourful, and I thought it wasn't as long as some other introduction or opening ceremonies. Although, of course, there may be some more to go. It's supposed to be going on to 4 in the morning. It's currently about half two UK time. So, but I'm pretty tired, so I may not watch all of it. But I have enjoyed what I've seen so far, and what can I say? Well done, Rio de Janeiro. Congratulations. Because with everything that's going on in Brazil, the political situation, the Zika virus, the concerns about crime, the ISIS threats, everything, I thought this was a very, very positive event. And with everything that's going on in the world, we always hear bad news. I think with something like this, it just needs to be celebrated. People coming together, nations coming together. Of course, there's a certain degree of competition, a big degree of competition. But I think with the opening ceremony, no one really cares about that. The opening ceremony is simply a happy, celebratory event, and that is something that, as a global community, we need to just welcome. It's one event where politics, war, conflict, all the world's problems are put aside, and it's just a big, colourful event. So I enjoyed it, and well done to the organisers. I thought that was very good. London 4 years ago, I thought was wonderful. Beijing, I only saw it on YouTube afterwards because my TV had bad static at the time, but that was of course a magnificent ceremony. Sochi was very good in 2014. I enjoyed the Sochi ceremony. Vancouver was very good. The earliest Olympics I can personally remember is Atlanta. I don't remember the details of it. I just kind of remember the intro to it. I mean, the advertisements for it at that time. I don't know why. I just do remember it. I think they played the music of Dixie, the old Civil War thing. But anyway, enough of that. Enough of me talking. Rio de Janeiro opening ceremony. I believe it's 31st Olympic Games. I'm not sure. 32nd. London was the 30th Olympiad, so yeah, this must be the 31st. If you're watching it, let me know your thoughts.